Welcome back to 30 for 30, presented by iCoach. I'm joined with Riley Dodge, the head football coach at Southlake Carroll High School, just a storied program in the state of Texas and really nationwide. Riley, welcome, man. Thank you for joining me.
Coach Nash, I appreciate you having me, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I've been a fan for a while. As we were just chatting, I had to be a fan from a distance as I was on the other side of some butt whoopings from some of your squad. So I'm interested to learn, man. Just tell me a little bit about your history. What got you into coaching? I know, but our listeners may not know exactly.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. Been following you from afar for a long time, and everything you're doing on social media and this podcast is awesome for coaches and Texas high school football. So I really appreciate that. I'm a high school coach's kid. I grew up in the field house my entire life. I know nothing else. So, from a young age, growing up in different locker rooms, different field houses across the state of Texas, and I just got the bug from an early age. We kind of, your typical coach's life early on, coach's family, moved all over the state of Texas, from Central Texas to East Texas, back to the Metroplex. I'm a Metroplex guy. I was born in Dallas, Texas. I think our first stop was in McKinney, Texas, in the late '80s. It's something that it's kind of been in our family on both sides. My dad's a longtime high school football coach, and my grandfather, my mom's dad, my grandfather was a longtime athletic director and head football coach at Austin Westlake. So it's just something that I was born into the business a little bit.
Absolutely, man. It's awesome. It's organic. It's in your blood. It's kind of exactly what you want to do. Tell me this: what got you as far as being just a standout high school player? Because I remember I'm a little bit older than you, so I remember watching you play in high school, watching you in some awesome championship games, and also seeing you as a college player. What led you to that calling? What made you decide, you know what, I have all these options of what I could do. I want to be a Texas high school football coach.
Yeah, so I think early on when I got done playing, I wanted to be a college football coach. And I think one day I still maybe have that itch, but right now I love where I'm at. I started my career at Texas A&M University. I was a graduate assistant with the quarterbacks under Kevin Sumlin and Cliff Kingsbury. So it was a great way to start your young coaching career. Hopped into a great situation on the front end of Coach Sumlin's tenure at A&M. We came out of the gates pretty hot, and in the SEC with Johnny Manziel win the Heisman, and I think we finished 5th in the country that year. We beat Oklahoma in the Cotton Bowl. Spent 1 year there. Cliff got the head coaching job at Texas Tech. Saw an opportunity at University of Texas, really close to Major Applewhite. He was offense coordinator at Texas at the time. And so I hopped on with Major and Coach Brown. I was actually committed to University of Texas for a long time in high school, and I ended up decommitting from Coach Brown and going to play for my dad in North Texas. And so that was really cool. I grew up with burnt orange in my room all over the place. My dad was played at University of Texas. My mom's from Austin, Texas. So I went to go work for Coach Brown, and that was a lot of fun. And then I was lucky enough to get that was Coach Brown's last year, and he retired. I mean, obviously got back in it, but and then I hopped on. Was lucky enough to be retained by Coach Charlie Strong, and so it was kind of unique. I started, on the front end of Kevin Sumlin's tenure at A&M, the back end of Coach Brown's legendary career at University of Texas, and then the front end of Coach Strong's tenure at Texas. So at the time, I really didn't realize it, but now, sitting back, it was a blessing in disguise, just because it was football 101 for me. I got to see a lot of different brands of football on the offensive side of the ball and the defensive side of the ball, different leadership capabilities from the coordinators to the head coach. So I was a fly on the wall, I was a sponge, and that was very, very beneficial for me at a young age. And then I had some opportunities to stay in it. We were me and my wife were starting our family, and we had our son Tate, who's now 5. And I just decided, I wanted to get back into high school football. That's what I was around my entire life, 15, 18-year-old young men. And I think that's more my cup of tea right now. And just couldn't be happier that I hopped back in the high school football where it kind of all started for me.
It's fantastic, man. That's quite a journey. Been surrounded by some fantastic coaches. I mean, starting with your father, of course, and then all of the college coaches that have kind of poured into you. It seems like you've taken bits and pieces and created your own identity as an offensive minded coordinator, and then also now as a head coach. So,
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, you're good. Next question I want to ask though is playing for Southlake Carroll. The tradition is amazing. It just an unstoppable winning tradition that's carried on for decades. How does it feel to be the head football coach of your alma mater?
Yeah, it's still surreal. This place means a lot to me. Means a lot to my family. My wife's from Southlake, so just a blessing to be home. It's grew up in these hallways in this field house. I'm currently in the field house right now, and it's changed a little bit, but it's really unique. Yeah, and like you said, the tradition here goes back all the way to Bob Ledbetter in the early '90s, and when they went on their run in 3A. And we got here at Carroll in 2000, and we just kind of went on a magical run, from 2000 to 2006, and it was we hit a run for about 5 years that I think I'm biased, but I don't know necessarily that run's been seen before. We went 79-1 and won and lost on the last second field goal against Katy in 2003. So we had a chance to go 5 straight, and yeah, it's amazing to be home, and it's amazing to be leading this program that I grew up wishing and hoping to play for, and so now it's definitely come full circle.
Absolutely, man. That's got to be an awesome feeling. As we're sitting here chatting, I know I see the picture in the background. I don't know if anybody else can
Mm-hmm.
see it, but they will on YouTube. Just
Yeah.
the family. So it's awesome, man. You got your young ones. Yeah, I know we were chatting earlier. I said, yeah, it gets easier when they get a little bit older. They're young, but tell me, how do you balance being the head coach of a storied program? There's a lot of pressure behind that, but also being the head coach of your household. Being a great father,
Mm-hmm.
a great husband, and bringing these boys up in the way that they should go.
Yeah, like you said, it's crazy town right now at our house. But we have a 5-year-old boy, Tate. We have a 2-year-old boy named Landry, and we just had a little girl that's 2 weeks old today, named Blakely. So we are our heads are spinning a little bit, but a lot of sleepless nights, but wouldn't change it for the world. But like you said, I mean, I think that was instilled in me at a young age, with my dad and my mom. They did an unbelievable job finding ways to carve out times to, especially in the fall, to spend time, my dad with his young family when we were younger. And, me and my wife every Wednesday, if it's her coming to my office for lunch or I meet her somewhere for lunch, we have a dinner date. It's non-negotiable. We always have a Wednesday date. And, with the kids, I try to get out of the field house on Wednesday at an early time. But it's, this profession, it's a grind. It's something that we love to do. But I think as I've gotten older and surrounded myself around some really good coaches and really good men, we don't guard our desks. We work our butts off. But I get here really, really early, and I like to knock some stuff out before the chaos hits and the good chaos. And so I think I've gotten better and better and better over the years of getting my butt out of the office and getting home, because work can wait. And more, I think the most important thing right now is, especially for my 5-year-old and 2-year-old boys, that they need me home as much as possible. So obviously during this virus, we've spent some solid quality time together.
Absolutely. And allude to the virus that's hit us, man. It seems like we went to spring break and we just never came back. And I know we've had some summer workouts, we've had some ability to be with our players. What are you doing right now to make sure you're getting in communication, contacting your guys, and making sure that they're focused with what's happening?
Yeah, I mean, before June 8th hit, we were Zooming 3 to 4 times a week. Every Monday, we were having a Monday morning team meeting. where we would hop on. I'd bring a special guest in and talk to our guys, give a little solid message to start the week off, and then we'd have our position meetings during the week and doing installs. It's kind of crazy because with all the time we did have, we were able to really slow our installs down and really teach. And it forced, us coaches, myself, me being the quarterback coach, to really be a good teacher,
Yeah.
over Zoom. Because it's a lot harder to do it on huddle when you're not in person and get on the board. So that was beneficial for all of us, I think, as coaches, because I think once we get back to our normal lives, I think we're gonna be better coaches and teachers. But yeah, since June 8th hit, we've been rock and rolling with strength and conditioning. It's looked a lot different, but our kids are doing a great job, being able to get on the grass, throw the ball around a little bit, and do some football. But yeah, it's made us think outside the box for sure.
Absolutely. I'm in 100% agreement with you. I think when the virus, number one, we got this valuable family time that we wouldn't have had otherwise, but it's also made us be innovative as coaches. We have to
Yeah.
use technology a lot more. And I think the funniest thing in the world is working with the coach that's been coaching for 35 years. And he said, "Hey, can you add me to Zoom so I can just bring my guys with you?"
Yeah, yeah.
That
We
type
got a
of
couple.
deal.
We got a couple of those guys.
I think it's Coach Relegado that has the TikTok memes of the old coach with the coffee
Oh
cup.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it reigns true, man. You got the guys who are trying to catch up to the technology, and you got your young go getters. So
No
it's
doubt.
for all of us here for sure.
Yeah, we got some of those guys for sure.
No doubt. Now, Coach, I listened to a podcast with my friend Stuart Hardy not too long ago, and man, it was very moving. It was very gosh, I don't know. It affected me greatly just hearing your story there and what you had to say. Can you talk a little bit about your faith and what that means to you as a football coach?
Yeah, man, I appreciate that. I think it's very similar to coaching. I played at University of North Texas. I left University of North Texas and transferred to McNeese State in Lake Charles, Louisiana. Finished out my college career there, and I had a group of men. I grew up in the church. I was always in the church. I wasn't always totally invested, and at a young age, I was distracted. But I think on the back end of my college career, I had some young, older men that really saw something in me that I didn't see myself. You know, off the football field, and they saw a greater walk for me, and I really appreciate those guys. I stay in touch with them daily, and the church, my relationship with Jesus Christ is my number one, and that's why I'm married to the person I'm married to. Obviously, I think she's smoking hot, but she sets the tone. She set the tone from day one, and I fell in line. And I think now I think I'm leading our family at home. And but I think too, we've made some major decisions as a family, as a couple, with my job opportunities that have kept us where we're currently at, because we're really invested and entrenched in our church in Keller, Texas, a Milestone Church, and we just love the people there. Created some amazing relationships and spiritual family there that just can't be replaced just for another job, and that's meant the world to us. And I think that for us as a coaching staff, we speak openly with our kids about it. We don't ram it down their throats, but at the same time, I'm going to be who I am, and I'm lucky enough to have an amazing support system on the administration side that understand who I am, understand us as coaches, who we are, and how we lead and how we talk to our kids, and they've really supported us. So, like you said, I mean that's where it all starts, and it's a constant reminder for us as coaches to be consistent in our walk, and kind of be the light in these hallways, especially during these times.
Absolutely, Coach. Man, you hit the nail on the head. It's I could never accept a job anywhere if I couldn't be unapologetically who I am. If I can't
Yep.
be open and honest, because number one, our kids see it a mile away. If you come in as a faker, they will call you out on it so quick. You have to be who you
There's
are.
no doubt.
Without
There's
a
no doubt.
doubt,
And
man.
I think that's you. I think you, I think you nailed it. So, but I think that's the biggest thing for us as coaches, and that's something that I was reminded of when I first got the job here. Be who you are, not someone else. There's a lot of things that we take from different people, mentors or different coaches, or from inside of football, outside of football, that have really built us up to who we are as individuals today. But at the end of the day, you are your own person, and the successes you have had or the opportunities you have gotten is because you are you are who you are. And that's one thing that I've really tried to do every day since we've been here, just be myself and try to relate to these kids.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Because in these days, man, I love that our kids ask a lot of questions. And the kids are
Yeah.
when we were coming up, they want to know why. Why are we doing
Yeah.
this? Why do you
Yes.
say what you say? Why do you do what you do? And so being able to be authentic, you don't have to remember what you told them. It's just
No
authentic,
doubt.
you know.
Absolutely. That's good.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, next question. You've had some amazing, amazing coaching relationships throughout your career as you've made your way up. What's the best piece of advice that you ever got?
Whew. Probably something I just hit on from Joey McGuire, um, who I've known for a really long time and really value that relationship. I've never worked for Coach, never played for Coach, but being a coach's kid, it's a small fraternity of coaches, and I've been fortunate enough to be around Coach McGuire. And he told me when I first got this job, um, be you, and that's what we talked about earlier. The worst mistake I could have made when I walked through his doors when I first got this job 2 years ago was try to be my dad, and that's one thing that, as a competitor, I have a chip on my shoulder. I think from an early age, when I was a starting quarterback here at Southlake Carroll, he's the quarterback. He's a starting quarterback. His dad's the head football coach. Right? Well, that's fine for people. Everybody's gonna have their opinion, right? And so I always knew that I had to go prove myself every Friday night. I wanted to go put a show on and be productive for my football team. And then that's the same thing now. I think that I'm going to be who I am, and I'm different from my dad. Um, but a lot of things that I learned, the blueprint of how to run a program, came from my father and how he treats people and how he runs a football program. But at the end of the day, we're two different individuals and very like-minded. But I thought that made so much sense to me when I first got this job, and that was the type of advice I needed when I did get this job, because I was nervous. I'd never been a head football coach before, and something that I really wanted. But on top of it, I was coming back to a place that I spent a lot of time at as a young kid, and then on top of it, my dad was the head football coach here for a long time. So, I really appreciate Coach McGuire's advice he gave me at that point, and that's something I really needed.
Absolutely. And Coach McGuire is one of the best I've ever known, man. He always drops a gem in my ear every now and then when that conversation going. So, yes.
He's a good one.
Yes, sir. Now, what's been your biggest challenge these past 2 years?
Probably the biggest, it's gotten better. But from the jump, it was learn how to delegate. Just as a head football coach, you go from being an offense coordinator at the high school level to, when you're an offense coordinator, when you're working for a head coach, it really gives you the reins. Hey, go be the head coach of the offense. You're really, you're planning by yourself a lot of times. Maybe you don't have the class flow the rest of the offense staff has. So you want to work really hard for your offensive staff so that they're ready to go for practice or game prep or on a Sunday, whatever it may be. So, I've worked with some really good coaches at Flymount Marcus and at Just Northwest. But when I stepped into this role, I think from the get-go, because I'm still calling plays and still coaching the quarterbacks, I had to really learn how to delegate and trust coaches to go do their jobs. And that's the reason I brought these guys here, right, was to go coach. And so Man, I think a lot of guys will say this. I got a great staff. I got a lot of great ball coaches, good men, and my first year here about killed me. Just because I wanted to do everything. I wanted to have my hand on every part of the program, which I think you do need to do as a head football coach. But I had really stepped back. I was like, if you want to be the play caller and you want to be the quarterback coach, you've got to let the rest of these guys, especially on the offensive side of the ball, go, right? And I had to put blinders on a little bit when it comes to ball and focus on what I need to focus on, almost like I was an assistant. And that was something that was a struggle for me. Year one, got better year two, and going into year three, we have our majority of our staff intact over the last 3 years. So that's huge. But that was a challenge for sure.
Absolutely, man. I guess the next question I have is it's kind of a difficult question, but along your career path, if you could change one thing, what would it be?
Ooh, that is a difficult one. Man, my career might have gone a lot differently if we're playing a third round my senior year in high school. third round, we're playing Abilene in a game, and I was being we had I won't name names. But I'm 18 years old. I'm 5'11", 185 pounds soaking wet. I didn't scare you come off the bus. So, but I had some coaches that knew that I thought I was 6'5", 220.
Yes.
And so I had a coach right before we played Abilene say, "Hey, did you hear what the head coach of Abilene said about you?" And I said, "No." And he told me, and I was like, "Did he really?" He's like, "Yeah, he said that about you." I was like, "All right." So we throw long story short, I throw a post route, like the second play of the game. It's at Old Texas Stadium. And so I'm running down the sideline. I'm being an idiot. And I run over the Abilene sideline, and I'm getting like, "Come on, like bring it, let's go." And so we're rock and rolling. It's like third, fourth series, and we're going to score again and go up 21. And they had a linebacker, last name Williams, who went to play in Nebraska. I don't know if that rings a bell for you, but he hit me. So I threw a touchdown on my last play in high school football. He hit me so hard that I separated my right shoulder before I hit the ground. And I had I had a reconstruction on my right shoulder, my throwing shoulder. And after that, I never got back to rehab. I just never got back to where I was as a high school athlete. And things might have gone a little bit differently. And I think a lot of that was a little bit of karma coming my way. so that's if I could change one thing, that's what I would change that.
I got you. I think we all have a story very similar to that one.
Oh man,
Yeah.
I was an idiot.
I've been there. I got you, Coach. Man, that was good. Okay, Coach, this is the last question I have for you. This is this is our 30 for 30 series. You're actually wrapping up our 30 for 30 series. We've had some amazing guests, but you've brought some amazing insight to just being a high school football coach, which is awesome. I think it's going to benefit a lot of our listeners. One thing I noticed about every 30 for 30 I've ever watched is that there's this tagline. It's like the U. There's broke. So if this is Riley Dodge 30 for 30, I want you to name it.
Oh man. That's tough. That's good. Tagline. I'll just say, I'm home.
I'm home. I love it.
I'm home.
I'm home. And Coach, you've done a fantastic job at home. I was on the opposite sideline last year. I saw it made my day. There was a young man who was able to score a touchdown against Eden.
Yeah, man.
Really would not have played. A young man with special needs, and I mean that made my day. I'm a lifelong special education teacher. I've taught everything from hearing impaired, visually impaired, nonverbal, you name it, and I have a heart for that. So I promise I was crying, but it wasn't because we were getting our butts whooped.
Well, I tell you, it goes both ways. I mean, y'all, Coach Miller, and allowing that to happen, and that made that kid's nights and year in life. And his mom, and call me every now and then and say thank you. But that also goes to the Eaton coaching staff as well, to allow that kid to do that. So I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it speaks to the type of, I mean, the wins, of course, speak to who you are. The way you lead your program with class speaks to who you are. But those small things that might not mean a lot to a lot of people, but means the world to a young man, that speaks exactly to your character, Coach. And I just appreciate that. And it's amazing.
I appreciate that, Coach.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, this is the Riley Dodge 30 for 30. I'm home. Dodge, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.